Hello, everybody. It is Coach Kelly. I know last week you were extremely impressed to find out that I was not only a teacher, but I was also a scientist. And I hate to brag, but this week you also get to find out that I am, in fact, a historian. And I know quite a bit about social studies. So, this week we are looking at one big question, which is what happens when cultures come into contact with one another? That means the learning target is we are learning what happens when cultures come into contact with each other. Throughout the week, you are going to think about some examples that you've already learned about. You're going to read about the age of exploration, as that has a lot to do with cultures coming into contact for the first time. Learn about 6 different explorers. Pull all of that learning together to explain what happens when different cultures interact. So, starting today, I want you guys to reflect and have a little bit of a discussion about how does our own identity form. We've been talking about this for several weeks now. Think back to those maps, those little webs we made about how do we identify ourselves, and then how do people from our society influence how we identify, and what other people might believe about us that we don't even believe to be true. How might others think about you differently from what you think about yourself? How is a community identity formed? So, not just yourself, how is an entire community's identity formed? And then think back to that video about the single story and what is the problem with a single story. Go back to that discussion, kind of activate your thoughts again. And how may a single story affect one's perception of another culture? So, not just one's identity, we're taking our own individual identity and making it bigger and thinking about a whole community's identity. Okay, so please take a minute, answer these questions in a thoughtful, complete sentence, and please have a discussion, or for my class, be ready to discuss tomorrow morning. Okay, now I want you to think back to when we read the story, The Mystery of Roanoke. Okay, and think back to what happened when the colonists first came into contact with the, I don't even know how to say the tribe name. Miss Wade does, ask her. She's really good at it. Okay, what happened when they first came into contact with each other? And then why did that happen? Okay, if you need to go back to the article, I guarantee it's still on your Google Classroom underneath shared reading, The Mystery of Roanoke. Go find that text and see if you can reflect on these 2 questions for a minute. Because remember, that is nonfiction, which means it is a real account. And this directly connects to a lot of what we are talking about today. Once you are done with that, okay, I want you to think about, why did Europeans want to come to the New World, or what we now know as America? Okay, think about what we have already read in the school year so far. We've read 2 articles that talk about Europeans coming to America specifically, and read another one about kind of the Europeans' lifestyle, or the, if you think back to the big stink, um, just kind of how their life was years and years ago. So I think you can come up with at least 2 reasons why people might have wanted to come to America in the first place. Then, to gain a little bit more knowledge before we get into learning more about these explorers, I want you to take a minute and read this article. Okay, it is a little bit lengthy, so if you need to take some time, take some breaks, do so. Okay, and I want you to think about 3 more reasons why Europeans wanted to come to the New World. Okay, 3 more reasons. You can put those underneath here. After that, you are done for the day, and we will move on to Tuesday. So go ahead and take a break and come back ready on Tuesday. Happy Tuesday and welcome back. Okay, Historian Coach Kelly here, ready to continue our looking at what happens when cultures interact with each other when they first come into contact with each other. Okay, for the next several days, today and tomorrow, you're going to look at 6 different explorers. Okay, you are also going to take notes on a PDF. You have this nice PDF for each video. It goes with each 6 of them. Okay, I want you to think about 2 big things while you are watching those videos: the route taken and major places they landed, and their discoveries are all going to go on this side. And then threats or mishaps, maybe unfortunate event, things that went wrong on this side. Okay, in order to do that, if you are a paper and pencil person, feel free to do this on paper and pencil. Whoa, sorry about that. And take a picture and attach it. Or if you come up here and hit typewriter, put in here, whoops, it'll nicely have a place for you to type. Okay, oops, sorry, keeps going to the next page. Anyways, you're going to do that for all 6 of the people. So take notes. It's important to think about the differences in their exploration and to really think about some of the problems that they all encountered. Okay, I also want you to think about something else. Remember to stay focused on, we're not only talking about just these different explorers, what they found, the difficulties they went through, but also how did different cultures interact when the explorers found a new place. Some of it is the New World. How did they interact with the people that were already there, the indigenous people who lived there prior to them coming and finding it? That's kind of your guiding question the whole time. I also want you to start taking note of people that you might find particularly interesting. Okay, you have 6. There's a video and a couple questions that go with all 6. I want you to do 3 today and 3 tomorrow on Wednesday. Okay, by Friday, you have this question answer. What happens when cultures come into contact? This will be a thoughtful, well thought out essay. Okay, it does not necessarily have to be 5 paragraphs, but at least 3, and I want you to really be thoughtful on it. You also have an extension activity. So as you're watching this, I want you to be thinking that there's one of the 6 explorers that you would like to do some additional research on. They all have some different interesting quirks and interesting facts about them. So think about one that you particularly start liking, and any day you have additional time, you should be adding to a hyperdoc, a slideshow. You can even make a screencast like I'm making for you right now to explain to your class more about one particular explorer. Okay, so going back to today and tomorrow's work. Okay, each person has a video. You watch the video, they're about 5 minutes each. Answer the 2 or 3 questions per explorer, as well as take notes on the routes, the major places they landed, and some difficulties they may have had. Okay, this will be for Tuesday and Wednesday, so I suggest watching this video both Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I will talk to you guys again on Thursday. Welcome back on Thursday. Hopefully you have now learned about all 6 of these amazing explorers. All of them have very different stories, but all very interesting. So after that you've done that, I want you to think about answering these 2 questions that go along with thinking about all the different explorers. Okay, how did European influences in the world change between the Columbus, the very first explorer you learned about, and Drake's back in 1580? And then go to question 2. Explorers in the New World met indigenous people wherever they went and brought change to their land. I want you to list at least 2 ways that life changed for the indigenous people. And as you write that, I want you to really start to focus and reflect on how did that interaction happen? What change did that happen? And how does that influence the interactions that they had with each other? Also remember that each day you're getting closer to Friday and you should have picked one explorer that you wanted to do some in-depth research on to explain more to your class about. Now, there are 2 pictures, okay? One is taken from the perspective of the indigenous people when Columbus first came to the New World, and one is taken from Columbus's point of view perspective from when he came to the New World. I want you to really focus on both of them, taking note of what's similar in both, what's different in both, and think about the video and what we now know about Christopher Columbus. If you need to refresh your memory, it was the very first one, so go back and watch that video again and think about those questions. Then, I want you to have this discussion as a class and write this down. Which picture is from the indigenous point of view and which one is from the explorer's point of view? How are they similar and how are they different? Okay, it's important to think about how those were different and once again, how they interacted and who believed they interacted one way versus how a different group may have believed for them to be interacting. After that, okay, on Friday, we are towards the end of our week and now we should really be accomplishing our learning target, which is that we are learning what happens when cultures come into contact with each other. You have thought about examples at the beginning of a week. You have read an article about the age of exploration. You have now learned about 6 different explorers and hopefully continue to learn about one in depth. So now you are pulling all of your learning together. Okay, this is where that learning is really going to show by writing a 3-paragraph essay that really supports what happens when cultures come into contact with one another. Okay, use examples from the videos, from the text. You can think about the shared text. You can also think about some of the wonderful discussions you've had throughout the week on this topic. When you are done, please attach a separate Google Doc to this assignment so that we can see your 3-paragraph essay and see if you have, in fact, met your goal for your learning target. Last but not least, hopefully you've worked on this all week long, but if you have not and you would like to do some research today, think about one of those 6 explorers you found to be the most fascinating. Okay, do some additional research, find out some interesting things. It's okay if it doesn't have to do all with exploration. Make a hyperdoc, a slideshow, or even a screencast video like this one. You may ask me for support or your teachers for support on that. And then be ready to teach some of your classmates about it more in depth on those explorers. There were 6 of them and they were only about 5 minutes each. So have fun with it. See if you can find some interesting facts. I probably know them since I'm a historian. However, your classmates probably do not. So somebody will be fascinated by your work. All right, guys, I hope you had a wonderful week and enjoy your weekend.